So today's lesson will be about Jerome Bruner, who's an educational theorist. So he develops theories about education and learning. He was born in 1915 in New York City and lived till he was 94. He was a cognitive and educational psychologist. And the concept of learning is often taken for granted and not much thought goes into it. So have a think about the idea of learning. When do you think we start to learn, Mum?
As soon as you're born.
Yeah. And how do you think we come to learn, Dad?
Watching things, seeing things.
Yeah, good.
Watching
So-
other people.
Good. So I hand out some worksheets. So we're going to work through these as I present some information as we go. That's right. So there are many learning theories, some dating back to the early 20th century, that have helped influence, say, policy development and teaching practices. So the main theories that are studied and that I've studied so far are the behaviourism theory, the constructivism theory, cognitive theory, socio-linguistic theory, and socio-cultural theory. So Bruner was a strong advocate for students being active learners who constructed their own knowledge. So therefore he fits into the constructivism theory quite well. Off the table. And he also believed that learning is what the brain does naturally, and that learners construct new ideas based on their already existing knowledge, so what they know. So do you think this is true, that the brain kind of learns naturally? Or that it has to kind of work to learn and develop new things?
Bit of both,
Work
but
to
mainly
learn.
working.
Yeah. So have a look at activity 1 on your sheet there and select which learning theory Joseph Bruner belonged to and just circle it.
Just one of them.
Yeah, pick one. Okay, so during his research and in a way to try and understand how children develop, Bruner established that there were 3 stages of instruction based on intellectual development. So these were the enactive theory. So this is when a child is between 0 to 1 years old. It's action-based, and they store this information in their memory. So a good example is when a child shakes a rattle and it produces a sound. Say the next day or later on they'll shake their hand trying to get that same sound, not connecting that it was the rattle that made the sound, it was the action. The iconic stage is when they're between 1 to 6 years old. This is image-based and the information is stored visually as images. And then the symbolic stage is when they're 7 years and older. So this is language-based and it's...
Iconic is 7 years.
Yep, so that's the activity. So
Oh.
I'm just explaining everything first. And so its ability to think in abstract terms, and the information is stored as words, symbols, like math symbols and things, so a bit more advanced. So if we were to, say, teach this in a classroom, the inactive stage would be building a model of, say, a dinosaur, and then the iconic stage would be watching a film or a movie about dinosaurs. And then the symbolic stage would be researching about dinosaurs using textbooks and the internet and things, and then discussing that with the class. So Bruner did believe that a learner of any age is capable of learning, just so as long as the information is organised and taught appropriately for that age or that stage of development. And he also believed that having an interest in the subject matter a student was learning was the best stimulus or motivation for them. So he didn't like the idea of grades, testing, exams and rankings and things. So we'll look at activity 2, and I just want you to match each stage with the characteristics. So just pop a line to where that stage should match to. So they're all jumbled up. Okay, and now we'll look at two key theories that Bruner developed. So one was called the scaffolding theory. So what's the aim of a scaffold? What does that do? Like even for a building kind of thing. Yeah, support. Yeah, good. So he believed when children start to learn new concepts or ideas, they need help from their teachers and adults in the form of support. So to begin with, they are quite dependent on the adult support, and then as they learn new skills and develop their learning, that support will be weaned down. Just like a support or a scaffold would be for a building. So a good example of this is when children first start to speak. They are helped by their parents in the form of reading bedtime stories and things. And then as they acquire the skills to speak, they can actually tell the bedtime story and read aloud later on. And so the other theory he developed was the spiraling curriculum. So what does the shape or the symbol of the spiral usually mean, do you think?
Going up, I don't know.
Well, it starts low and gets higher.
So starts low and gets higher, and builds around that central point. So Bruner believed that a curriculum, as it develops, should revisit and build on the basic ideas repeatedly as you go until the student has kind of grasped those main ideas. He thought it should be organised in that spiral manner so that, they're building upon as well what they've already learned and making meaning from it. Good, so for the last activity, activity 3, I want you to circle, just from what we've spoken about there, circle the images that relate to his theories.
How many you got to do?
Just as many as you think. So just to sum up all of that, so Jerome Bruner was a constructivism theorist who developed some key theories for learning and thinking. So he did the 3 stages of intellectual development, the scaffolding theory and the spiraling curriculum. So we'll finish with one of his well-known quotes. So true learning involves figuring out how to use what you already know in order to go beyond what you already think. Good, so we'll go through the answers as well on the sheet. So activity 1, what did you get?
I got B.
Yep, good.
I got D.
Yep, so it's B, constructivism. So as I mentioned earlier, he thought that children should build on and construct their own knowledge from what they already know. So that just fits into the constructivism theory there. Activity 2, so where did you pop iconic to?
I put that down to the last one, 1 to 6 years.
Yep, that's it. 1 to 6.
Right.
Yep, and symbolic?
Symbolic, I had up to 7 years.
Yep.
Top one.
And that leaves an active 0
As
to
the
1.
middle, as the middle one.
Yep, good. And for activity 3, what pictures did we circle?
The scaffold.
Yep.
The spiral, and I also put the flower because it's growing.
Yeah, so you can put that.
Yeah.
It was mainly those 2 things that we discussed, but you could argue that the watering can for the flower because they're developing and growing.
That's right.
So good. That's all done.
Thank you, Miss Alana.
And Charlie?